Or Ned. Oh, whoop. Okay, dog.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. I just figured out how to unmute the the darn microphone.
Excellent. I adopted a dog.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
kind?
Some kind of pit bull cross. She's
Oh
just
my.
gorgeous. Yeah, we can't figure out what the cross is, like maybe a lab or something. I don't know, but
Oh.
she's awesome. I adopted her last week, so if I look aside, I'm wondering, okay, what are you chewing on now?
Right. Yeah. I know. I had a dog once that chewed up a pair of $100 boots, working boots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, brand new. She's chewed the tongue right off of them. Anyway, let's see. What was I was going to ask you something and I'm having a senior moment. It'll come back.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
Not good
Monday.
for a Monday morning, but I haven't had coffee yet, so there's still hope.
Okay.
How are
So,
you doing?
oh, I'm doing okay. I'm, I'm, I don't know. I'm still not, I'm still not adapting well to being old.
It kind of bites sometimes, doesn't it?
I know. I just turned 78. Can you believe that? I
No.
can't. I don't believe it at all. I still think I'm 60. And that sounds old.
I know, right? 70 used to sound old to me. It doesn't anymore.
Yeah, weird how that works.
Yeah. There's some things I really like about I'm 54 now, so and there's some things about the transition, the hormonal transition at this time that are I kind of dig. It's very freeing.
Oh, that good for you. You
Yeah.
know,
And
I
other
I
things I
went
don't.
I went through a strange experience a number of years ago, over 10 years ago, where I had prostate cancer and
Oh,
they got rid of it.
oh, good.
But as part of they gave me radiation treatments, and part of the treatment was they shot me full of estrogen or some other female hormones,
Huh.
which they said they did that because they said that the cancer, it made the cancer more susceptible to the radiation. But
That's fascinating.
but the point was it caused me to go into menopause. And I have great sympathy now. Empathy is probably a better word for what you women go through, because the hair fell off my legs and I started developing breasts and I started having hot flashes and
Oh, I'm sorry.
all that stuff. You go, oh, it was
It's
something.
hard being a girl.
It is. And I never really understood before. I'm going to try to turn on the camera.
There you
Oh,
are.
yeah. Okay. I'm still learning my way around Zoom. I hardly use it, but when, you know,
Well, yeah, we're the county's switching over to Microsoft Teams later this year, so I'll get to learn a whole new platform.
is Teams something like Zoom?
It's supposed to be. We'll
Okay.
see. Yeah.
I don't know. I used to know everything about computers and now I'm a
Yeah.
dinosaur.
Oh, we have 3 more minutes.
So this meeting this morning,
We're
well,
ending up having like another pre-meeting today.
oh,
Um, as I'll tell the whole group in 2 minutes. we delayed the deadline for, or we extended the deadline for those second surveys. Nice house, by the way. That looks great. I like your high ceilings. Um,
Oh, yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah,
Can you
it's
feel that ceiling fan way up there?
yeah. See, I have two ceiling fans. There's one up there and there's one over there.
Oh,
One's
cool.
on right now. But the one that you see is blowing down and I can
Okay.
feel it on
Oh,
the
that's
bald
awesome.
head. The other one, I've got it set the opposite so it blows up. So when they're both on, they
Ooh,
circulate the air in the living room.
that's
And
cool.
I've got a nice wood stove over there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that's wonderful. So you get the heat pushed
right.
down.
And it, because
Yeah.
otherwise it all goes upstairs and
Yeah,
gets hot up there.
right. That's so cool. What a beautiful house. Good for you.
Well, took me
I would
five
show you mine, but
build
I've
it.
got laundry on the couch.
I built this house with my own two hands and it took me like 5 years.
Wow.
I lived in a mobile that while I was building it. And then after we moved into the house, I sold the mobile and built my workshop and garage over there.
Wow. Wow. Good for you.
Okay,
You've done some stuff.
but
You've done
anyway,
some stuff.
it's it's mine. So are there going to be any actual public meetings? I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that was what I wanted to ask you, like down at the old I don't know what they call it nowadays, the big meeting hall in Lower Lake next to the fire station.
Oh, yeah. The brick hall,
The
they
brick
call it.
hall,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great spot. That's a good idea.
It is, yeah. There's plenty of room in there.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I've
Well, I think that we're going to do the in-person meetings for like when we're going over maps.
right.
Thanks for coming, Vince.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Good, thank you. So it's 9:30. There's only two of y'all and three of us total. So we're gonna go ahead and get started anyway. Um, I'll bring you up to speed. We have an updated timeline now. We extended the deadline for the second community workshop by 2 weeks because we wanted to give the people that we reached out to at the fair, the Lake County Fair, to have time to work on the surveys as well. We've had a very robust response. I think we're in the 400s now as far as that second survey goes.
Oh,
But with only about maybe a 50% completion rate, but that's okay because we were telling people just skip the parts that you don't care about, and focus on the stuff that you do because we knew that it was really a very lengthy survey this time. So because we adjusted that timeline for 2 weeks, it also extended then the date where I expect to get the second survey results back. And so that kind of pushes our LAPAC meetings back as well, because a number of all the key issues that the LAPACs would be discussing were included in those surveys. And I wanted you to have that tool or that data as feedback so that when we move forward on these different topics, we do so from an informed point of view with as much community input from those surveys as possible. So our main LAPAC meetings will get started that second week in October. I am getting the administrative or internal draft of the second survey reports back, I think around October 2nd. And I'm going to make sure I drop everything that I'm doing. Oh, let me turn that off. That's annoying. And review that, get it back to the core team so they can get us that report probably by the end of that first week in October. And we'll start our LAPAC meetings that second week.
I've got to check my calendar because that I think the second week of October is the LAFCO annual conference, which
Okay,
I already paid for in my room.
no problem. So the Kelseyville LAPAC had a great suggestion. I'm going to send out some doodle polls to plan out maybe 3 meetings in October, 2 of which will be virtual, 1 will be in person. And so just respond to your best availability. And Ed, if you have to miss that first meeting, there's going to be plenty for you to
Okay.
still participate on. So I'm not too worried. It's better if I've got all of you guys at one time, but I'll work with whatever we can do. And then, so our extended timeline, I think the core team is taking a look to see if we can go through the middle of November. But that does put us on a pretty tight timeline. We're going to have some meetings virtual, some meetings in person, particularly the ones where we're talking about planning planning area boundary adjustments and land use amendments. So because that's when we're going to print out the very big maps and just start, going on with a Sharpie and post-it notes and just capturing our data that way, because I'm not a GIS expert and we have connectivity issues when we do meet in person. So we're going to do it the tried true way, Sharpies and post-it notes. And this way also I'll have a little time once we get that doodle poll back from everybody to set up those meetings and now start pushing out press releases, because it's really important that not only do we have our LAPACs in these meetings, but the public knows where to go to be able to participate as well. So
Right.
that's what we'll be doing behind the scenes after today's meeting for probably this week, getting those all set up, then getting our press releases out. Also, we are the core team is working on, when I say core team, that's our staff. So that's Shannon and I, and then the PlaceWorks team, which has the GIS experts, and a number of their staff are dedicated to this. So that's our core team, and we're meeting weekly. So anyway, right now, our core team is working on developing a PDF version of our planning area map. So this would be specific to Lower Lake, plus any sort of outside boundaries nearby. To put it into context, it'll have our roads, it'll have current land use designations, proposed planning boundary area changes, and I think maybe community growth boundary areas, so that you can see it on your own computer at home, but we'll be able to print out the large maps that we can really work on when we get together. Additionally, I am working on a one-pager that will explain land use designations and what they look like, our typical zoning districts that correspond with them, so that people can familiarize themselves for that conversation. That we'll all be be able to visualize the same stuff. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else, any other tools that you can think of that I could make sure are available to you that would be helpful? And also I know Ed has experience, because of being on the board, he has experience with planning stuff, but I'm assuming most people do not. And so my job is to sort of translate it into English so that you can use your community expertise, your community awareness, and which is the reason why the board has appointed you to these LAPACs, and your input will and your input and my understanding of planning language will then interpret into hopefully a very useful community vision tool. So, but that being said, is there anything that I can get for you that you think might be of assistance?
I have a question, Maria. So you talked about a meeting in person. Is that where we would have the maps and start doing the post-it type work?
Yes, that's where we're going to use our
Excellent.
Sharpie, but you'll
Excellent.
get the
Okay.
PDF electronically. I'll email it out to you as soon as it's ready, so you can have it on hand.
Do
Okay.
we
Thank
need
you.
a copy of the old Lower Lake area plan just to see
It
what
would
we're,
be helpful. Yeah, if you would like paper copies, let me know and I'll print them out and mail them to you. Or you can find them online also on the planning website.
oh, okay.
All right, I just adopted a puppy, and so loud things go skittering across my floor sometimes. Sorry. Okay, so if you do think of anything that would be helpful, please do not hesitate to email me or give me a call. Let me know, because it's I don't feel like I'll be doing a good enough job if I'm not giving you the tools, that we'll find helpful. Steve Ellis called me, left me a voicemail this morning. He's right in the middle of harvest, and so has asked for afternoon or evening meetings in the future. So I'm taking that into account, but I will send out a doodle poll probably with 3 or 4 different dates, a few different dates in October. Please respond to that at your earliest convenience, and that'll be very helpful. Did you have any questions about the survey or any comments from that second community survey?
I agree with what your staff was telling people, just to ignore some of to focus on the most important things, because the survey was, um, as would naturally happen, repetitious in some areas
Yeah,
and thoroughly extensive, and I think overwhelming for a lot of the general
it,
public to go
it
through.
was a very big ask. Yes.
So anyway, I thought that was very good of the staff to say that to people.
Good. Thank you.
Maria, I have to apologize. I didn't do the survey. I
Okay.
didn't even know about the survey. I don't know how I missed it, but I have to confess, I took the month of August off.
Ah, well, then
I
that
was
would explain that one.
unplugged
Yeah.
for the whole month.
Good
So
for
how do I
you.
find this survey so that I can be
It's
off of the,
still available on the lakecounty2050.org page. You'll see a gold bar at the top, I think. I don't think they've taken it down, even though the period is changed or ended. But I think you can, that'll take you to right on the page that has the surveys. So the
okay.
first bunch of links is how to take the survey online. But since you're just going to peruse it for familiarity, scroll down past that because you can get to the PDF version below that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
awesome.
Thanks.
That's all I have for you this morning. I promise you, these LAPAC meetings are going to get very meaty. Just as soon as we get started, then you're going to have a lot of thinking and talking to do. Um,
Maria, I have a question.
yeah.
So you suggest that there will be about 3 meetings, or at least 3 in October, a
Mhm.
couple of which are going to be Zoom and one in person. Will
Yes.
these meetings all cover the same topic? Are they repeats, or is there additional, will the meetings grow based on previous input?
The way I am envisioning it is we will proceed through a number of topics. So if we get done with the topics in one meeting, we'll be done. At some topics may take additional discussion, and we may need to plan additional meetings. Hopefully, I get that extended deadline through the middle of November for LAPACs, so that we have enough time to make sure that we're reaching consensus on all the points that we need to.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good question. All right, that's all I've got for you today.
Okay, I just have a question that doesn't have to do with Lower Lake, but I remember back when there was a Cobb area plan. Is that do you have a committee up there too?
Yeah, Cobb Mountain has a full LAPAC,
Okay,
and
great.
they've actually already started meeting together too. They've been hanging out at a pizza place, like a meet and greet and get to know you. And
Oh,
uh, yeah,
great.
Marty's joining. Great, thank you, Marty. Hey, Marty, you joined just in time. We're pretty much done, but I'll bring you up to speed.
I found the couple of the personal meetings, the one that you had at the in Lakeport at the board office. I
Yeah.
found that to be very beneficial. While it was people from all of the different LAPACs,
Yes.
it was beneficial to actually engage personally rather than sometimes Zooms are I think it limits our ability to interact with people sometimes.
You know what? That's actually really helpful because I'm thinking that when we start talking about adjusting planning boundary areas, it affects multiple LAPACs. And so maybe I'll plan another one of those general meetings in Lakeport and get a number of LAPACs together so that like Cobb Mountain has a proposed boundary change that affects Kelseyville. And so it would be very helpful if I could get Cobb and Kelseyville in the same meeting to talk about that boundary change together. um, I think that might be the more efficient way. That's a really good idea, Vince. Okay.
That sounds really good. I think all
Yeah.
the areas could benefit from engaging. I know Lower Lake, we're adjacent to some of the other areas and how it affects, especially here, how it affects, Hidden Valley or whatever those are,
Good.
I
Right.
think that would be
I
really
think it's great.
beneficial.
Cobb area is the headwaters of Kelsey Creek. The areas are connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I already knew we wanted to have the planning boundary area map meetings in person. Maybe we can have mass LAPAC meetings in person for that particular topic. That's a really good idea. Okay.
Well, certainly Lower Lake affects, I believe, what is the Middletown
Mm-hmm.
area,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And there's some,
we're so adjacent and some of the boundaries are bounce back and forth.
totally.
Yeah, so I think that could be very beneficial.
That's a really good idea. Then put like a different planning area map on each table, and the different LAPACs can just sort of move around and talk together. That's really good. Hey, Marty. Let me just bring you up to speed, Marty. Our timeline got a little adjusted by a couple weeks because we wanted to extend the survey deadline in order to capture the input from the fair. So today's meeting is a kind of another pre-meeting just to let you guys know about that adjusted timeline. Our real meaty LAPAC meetings are going to start about the second week in October once we have the report back from the survey, so that you will be able to read what the residents in Lakeport that we were able to reach, or sorry, Lower Lake area. Actually, you'll get the whole report, but you'll be able to zoom in on the responses for the community survey on a number of different LAPAC related topics. So I'm going to send out a doodle poll I'm going to try for 3 meetings in October. Vince came up with that really good idea about the in-person meeting on planning boundary areas. So I think I'm going to work on that, getting all LAPACs together in the board chambers so we can kind of all hover around large maps with our Sharpies and Post-it notes and talk about those planning boundary area adjustments. And then also I'm waiting for report back from the core team to see if we can extend our deadline into the middle of November, just to make sure that our LAPACs have enough time to cover a lot of these really important issues that we need to. And once I get responses from the doodle polls back from all our LAPACs, that's when I'm going to be able to create our overall schedule for October and hopefully part of November. And we'll start pushing that out on our social media page and press releases and on the lakecounty2050.org and our email blasts. And so we can generate as much interest to have public participation at those LAPAC meetings as possible.
All right, I appreciate it. I apologize for being late. I had some technical difficulties. This is so important to me and my community here locally. So thank you guys for your time, and I appreciate the heads up.
Thanks for coming. Steve Ellis has said so far, like we're getting into harvest right now. So all of my ag related LAPAC members are really busy. But he did request evening or evening or late afternoon meetings. So I'm going to focus on that for our doodle polls. Yeah, so when you get that email, if you could just respond to that doodle poll at your earliest convenience, that would be very helpful for us. Ruby and I will be working on getting that scheduling out. And because I need help because it's 8 different LAPACs and she's 2 brains working on it. It will be really good. Additionally, as soon as I get a PDF version that I've requested from our core team, I'm going to send that out to you. That'll include the planning boundary adjustment possibilities as well as current land use designations, so you can see what is currently overlaid on on the community planning area. So that'll help inform, as well as an instructional page just to inform you what those land use designations mean and their corresponding zoning districts. So that way, when we do start talking about any adjustments to land use designations, you'll kind of have a feel for what that is. Also, what I just told the guys, Marty, is if there's any tool that you think or any question that you have I recognize that planning is kind of like learning Greek on the fly right now. So my job is to help you understand as well, like in regular person English, what the planning stuff is. So the board appointed you because of your areas of expertise and your awareness of the community. And so I don't expect you to be fluent in planning. But if there are any questions that you ever have, don't hesitate to ask them. Nobody knows this stuff until we start thinking about it. And
Actually, I've been doing a lot of delving into that. We've had some issues out here as far as, greenhouses and what's allowed, on certain parcels, because we have smaller parcels, we have huge parcels within our HOA, but also across the highway, which is the Hofer Ranch, and just knowing the differences and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And as the HOA secretary and treasurer, and my husband is the president, we're constantly being asked, well, can we do this? Can we do that? And I'm like, well, you got to go through the planning commission, and here's, what it's zoned, and here's where you can find that information. So,
well,
yeah.
excellent. Then you are well ahead of the general
Oh,
population.
yeah.
Good. That's great. But just in case,
I
still don't
appreciate it.
hesitate to ask any questions. Also, sometimes I've gone out to like the Clear Lake Keys Property Owner Association meetings to talk to their general body. If that's ever something that would be helpful for you, keep that in mind. I'd be happy to visit.
Great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Let's see. I think that's all I've got for right now.
Maria,
Up to speed. Yeah.
a quick question. So as the report is coming in, basically reducing all of this survey questions, right? Survey.
Yes.
And I know it's not easy. Like I said, on the survey, there seem to be repeats of a lot of the things in the various areas that as would be necessary. Will the report reduce some of that down to kind of congeal that into being more specific?
Somewhat. If it's like the first report, that one really tried to capture every piece of data that came in. And so we did have like an appendix that had all the write-in answers just to make sure we had everything. I think that this one may be similar to that. It'll synthesize a lot of the data so that you get a feel for who was answering, or what kind of questions really grabbed people. And so there we have more. So yeah, and I'm not sure if it's going to be identical to the first one or if it may be somewhat different because it was a very different type of survey. So we'll just wait and see. But I'm excited because the first survey was extremely informative with all the different reports they ran. So I anticipate a similar result for this one.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, that's all I've got for you guys. I have to run off to the office and start generating a lot of doodle polls.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a good day.